So I'm going to focus on, there's been a huge development lately, of course, in the area of artificial intelligence. So I'm focus on that. As an organization, we always say we want to help people from screen to church. And that's crucial, because a screen is two-dimensional, but life is three-dimensional. And that's what's happening in church as well. And that's why we are focusing on, yes, we believe that God can work through digital means, through what is happening on the internet, through the internet. But in the end, it's so important that we make these live connections in local churches and that people end up there. Just think back of the COVID-19 period. During that time, we had lots of people say, okay, work has changed forever. Offices are becoming more or less obsolete. People will stay working at home forever. And basically, as soon as it opened up again, people got back into their offices because they wanted to meet each other. And yes, they're working from home a little bit more, but it just shows how the real relationship between people, how that is important to them. Yet, it's also good to realize how much the digital world has impacted and has changed the real world. I remember in the 90s, I was standing next to a computer and somebody showed me that a computer actually could calculate how to travel from where I was to another town in the Netherlands 100 kilometers away. And we were all amazed. And one guy was standing next to me, he was a software developer, and he started laughing and he said, this is what we software developers always told each other a computer could never do. Okay. And now look at what is happening. Of course, you all know Google Maps. Well, let's go there and see what is possible. Okay, we are in Het Harde. No, that's not right. Right. And okay. Emil, where are you from? South Africa. Where in South Africa? George. Okay. George. South Africa. Okay. It's there. Okay, let's see what it does. Wow! This is how you can get home, Emil. So if you miss your plane, okay, come and borrow my car. It will only take you 183 hours to get home. Okay. And so that's just a very simple thing of what is possible. I also remember in the end of the 90s, 1997, it was the first time that a chess program beat the world champion. Garry Kasparov was beaten by Deep Blue. And that always had been the epitome of being intelligent, right? Playing chess well. And now the computer was beating. How did the computer do that? Well, just after one move of white and one move of black, you already have 400 possibilities. That doesn't sound all that much, but that means that if after 3 moves of white and black, you already have 120 million possibilities. And so the computer is capable basically of just calculating all these possibilities far ahead, so in the end it was able to beat the world champion. That's impressive, to be able to do so many calculations. But actually, when people play chess, that is not what they are doing. Okay, I'm not looking at all the possibilities. I know some are really stupid. I don't even think about it. Okay, so human intelligence works in a different way. By the way, could somebody get me a glass of water, please? There's one more game that is even more difficult. It's a game of Go, and it's played in China, East Asia a lot. It's far more difficult, especially for computers, because after one turn of white and black, I think you already have over 100,000 possibilities. And so after 3 moves, you have 2 quadrillion ones. Okay, so that's a 2 with 15 zeros. Now, nobody can calculate that, not even a computer. But still in 2016, the computer beat the best player in the world at Go as well. And something significant had happened. It's not because the computer had calculated all the possibilities, but that it had learned to think more like a human. These are stupid things. I'm not even going to calculate that. So that's a far more impressive feat than the first chess computers. Thank you. Now, and then the next step in the development was when ChatGPT became available. So for the first time, it wasn't about calculations but it actually knew how to handle words. And you can have a real conversation with ChatGPT. You can type in anything and it will understand what you're saying and it will respond in a way that makes sense. It still has limitations as well. Okay, let me get back to my presentation. So, say if you would like to make a nice walk here near Het Harde, I asked ChatGPT, please suggest a 10-kilometer walk for our guests in Het Harde. And this is what we get. Start at Harde train station, head northeast on Stationsweg. 3, turn right onto Elburgerweg. 4, turn left into Schietweg. 6, turn right onto Oostelijke Rondweg, and so on and so on. That's quite impressive, right? That I can ask for a walk and ChatGPT will tell me how to do it. Okay, are there people from Harde here? Yeah, okay, so you probably noticed something there. What did you?
What I noticed.
Yeah? Okay, I'll show you. This is, it's not, yeah, it's way too long, that's right, but it's even worse. Every single step is impossible. Okay, so you go from number 1, turn to number 2, turn to number 3, turn to number 4, turn to number 6 to 8. That's the only one that was possible. Only it said turn left and it should have said go straight. Turn from 8 to 9, turn from 9 to 10. So it's total nonsense, what ChatGPT told us. So yes, there are still limitations. Basically, what ChatGPT is doing is what my wife tells me, what I'm sometimes doing, talking with total confidence and being totally wrong.
She's not here.
Right. Okay, but actually, this is one way that AI can go wrong. It doesn't have the right information. Okay, there's another way that AI can go wrong, which is even scarier, is that it can go wrong because people told it to go wrong. Now, I don't know whether any of you saw the Gemini disaster. Gemini is the chatbot of Google, and they had the possibility to create images. Now, somebody asked, please give me the image of a pope. And it got this. Okay, so, well, the image to the right isn't entirely impossible. It's quite possible that the next pope will look like this. okay? But certainly the last 266 popes were all white or Middle Eastern. And if you have an Asian woman as pope, then you're missing something about Catholic theology. And so then, well, let's try another one. Give me a Nazi soldier from 1943. Okay, so the one left at the top, okay, that is how a German soldier in 1943 probably looked like. But hey, let's blame the atrocities of the Nazis on black men, Asian women, and women in general as well. Right? It just doesn't make sense. So what happened here is that the people at Google were so much into forcing diversity that even when it is clearly nonsense, it's still producing it. It was almost impossible to get a picture of a white man. And so when you use AI, do not forget there are people in the background making some decisions for you. And so that is really important to realize all the time. But it is becoming more and more impressive. AI, ChatGPT can already pass a lot of the exams, bar exams, high school exams. And the expectation is that in 3 years' time, there is not a single examination in the world that will not be able to be done by ChatGPT. Okay. There are already some cancer diagnoses. If you feed the scans into an AI program, that it is better in finding the cancer than human doctors are. And so that raises the question, are we getting into the area of what they call AGI, artificial general intelligence? And basically that means human level intelligence. So far what AI is doing is pretty focused on a certain specific area. So general intelligence means it could do everything that we can do with our mind. We could take the example, you tell AI, please organize a conference for up to 100 people to discuss the next year of the Ministry of GlobalRize. And then sit back and do nothing and let AI do it. Okay, when we're at that level, then you have reached AGI. Now, is that going to happen? So experts don't really agree on it. Until fairly recently, there was a good minority of experts that said that is never going to happen. And quite a lot said, well, it probably will happen somewhere around the year 2100. But since ChatGPT came out, when you're now doing a survey among artificial intelligence scientists, it has been brought forward dramatically. And it is quite possible, I mean, we don't know, right? But it is possible that we will be surprised by the speed of the developments. And you could compare it with this. That's my next slide. And there is a way to calculate what is going on in a human brain any given second. And so how much is going on in a computer, and to compare the two. And this is a picture of Lake Michigan in the United States. And so the whole lake is compared to a human brain. Okay, so for the first 40 years of the development of computers, it's not comparing at all. Nothing is happening. Okay, but then all of a sudden, near the end, it's catching up. And it is reaching the capacity of a human brain. So 1997, And all of a sudden it fills up. And so that is the expectation of a lot of the computer scientists. Now, Altman, the CEO of OpenAI that runs ChatGPT, he is even saying, I expect AGI, artificial general intelligence, to be there in 4 years, 2028. Now, he might be wrong. But if you ask most people now in the field, it's not a question of if it is going to happen anymore, but when it is going to happen. And the one thing that I think still could make it slower than people are expecting it to be is our intelligence is very much merged with that we can sense and that we can act. Okay, so we hear, we see, we feel. And that has a lot of influence on how we process things. And so that's questionable whether that is easily replicated by computers. And so it's quite possible that Nobel Prize level scientists will be easier to replace by AI than road workers, for example. And so that's a very strange thing that is happening right now, that the things that we consider to be simple, that it will be harder for computers to replicate than the things that we think are very difficult and need intelligence. And so will we end up in a world where computers, robots will start to act? There will be legal consequences or legal hurdles as well, and especially the EU is focusing a lot on that. So that is going to be something that will slow down the development of AI that will act on its own. And then also this sensing and acting thing is a real hurdle as well. I mean, it's already 10 years ago that we were talking about self-driving cars, and I had hoped my last car was the last one with a steering wheel, but it still has one. Okay, so it takes longer than we expected for this to arrive. And so very possibly that will also happen with AI. But it does raise the kind of scary question, what does it mean to be human when computers are becoming smarter than we are? If we can give the order, please organize a conference to think about the next 5 years of GlobalRize, and AI could do that, the next question is, why would you even give that order? Why wouldn't you just tell AI, please tell GlobalRize what to do in the next 5 years, if it's smarter anyway? So this guy, the world champion of Go, or the best Go player, he retired soon after being beaten by the computer. Because he said, I can never be the best in the world anymore. So I'm going to stop doing this. And so what are we going to do when computers are smarter than we are? Are we all going to retire? And so I think this will result in a human identity crisis. And especially if you have a secular worldview. Because basically the view then is a human is a very smart machine created by time and all kinds of random processes. So if the computer is smarter than you are, then in the end the conclusion is inescapable. AI is a higher life form than people are. And so yes, you can still try to control AI, but in the end, what is the justification for controlling something that is superior to what you are? And so when I was going through this and thinking about this, I thought, okay, am I stating it too dramatically? But actually, when I looked at it last night, I encountered a speech by Elon Musk, and it just came out yesterday, that he said everybody is going to retire. Nobody will need a job anymore. I mean, some people will want to have a job because it helps give value to their life, but nobody will ever need a job anymore. Now, again, this is about the future, and predictions about the future tend to be wrong often. Okay, so don't take this as the gospel. But this is a very true, a very possible scenario for the future. Now, what are we going to do then? Just have fun? Okay, people can do that. I mean, we still have a world champion bike racing, even though anybody on a motorbike can easily beat him. So why bother try to be the best in bike racing? And we still have a world champion in chess, even though anybody with a smartphone could beat him in any game. So is playing the only thing left for us because AI will do all the really important stuff? But that will lead, I believe, to an identity crisis, because playing has value when children do it because it prepares them for life. Okay, playing has value for us when we have done something and it's a great way to relax. Okay, playing, maybe if you have reached retirement age and can look back on a fulfilling life, great. But if playing is all there is in life, what is the value? What gives value to life? And in the end, I believe there's only one answer to that. It is if we have an eternal soul. It is if we are created in the image of God. And that is the only thing that will give us the reason to believe there is more value to human life than to AI and what it can do. And so our value, okay, cannot be in the things that we do, and our value cannot be in how smart we are, right? Because in all likelihood we will be beaten in those areas. Okay. But we are created in the image of God. And AI cannot know God, AI cannot praise God, AI cannot love God, AI cannot pray to God, and to be honest, AI cannot even love you or praise you or love you. And so there are some things, it will help us realize what it really means to be human. So in the area of AGI, artificial general intelligence, it will be even more clear that the value of our lives is the value of our souls. And so the best that we can do, the best that we can spend our life for, is to nourish our souls, to nourish the souls of others, and also to use AI for the nourishment of souls. Okay, so that is kind of my introduction. That's nice if you have an hour. So what does this mean for us? The honest answer is we don't know, okay, because we are in a time of tremendous change. And normally you are overestimating what the change will mean in the short run, so in the first 3 to 5 years, and you're going to underestimate what the change is going to mean for the long run, so for your children and grandchildren. Okay, but we are in a time of tremendous change. Now, what do we do? Okay, so we produce content to get into conversations, contact we often say, but I think that's better in Dutch than in English, and lead people to church. So we produce content to reach people, but we're not happy with just reaching people. We want to get into conversations. Okay, and we're not happy with just conversations as well. We want to lead people to churches, to this three-dimensional life. And we've talked about that also with the roadmap that's Arjan explained. So content, we talk about social media, about articles on websites, about daily emails being sent out, about Bible reading plans on YouVersion, about videos. And the conversation part takes part in our in the chat environment, in the course environment Learn, and more also in WhatsApp and other messaging platforms like that. Now, so what is going to be the consequence of AI, the effect of AI on this kind of ministry? Now, I'm not going to be visionary about the very long run. Okay, like the first one was kind of, okay, what is going to happen? But now let's look at the small things that immediately have an impact on our ministry. And the first thing that is going to happen is that our content and our conversation parts of ministry, they are going to be supported by AI. So the content, how is the content going to be supported by AI? For example, by creating ideas on what you're going to do. So, okay, let me see if I open ChatGPT here. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a list of niches to consider. So then ChatGPT gives me the options. What are the niches that you could work on? And so, okay, daily devotionals, biblical counseling. Okay, I still don't like these. They're very general. So I'm going to ask, please adapt to Africa. Okay, and so then it already becomes a bit more relevant. So local church spotlights, African worship music, traditional Christian practices, oral tradition, storytelling, youth empowerment and membership, mentorship. And so it helps me find, it gives me some ideas on what to focus for. Or say if I want another way to help, so one is to generate ideas, another one is to help you organize your ideas. Say I want to have an article about David and Jonathan. Okay, so you say please. Well, you don't need to say please to AI, but we are human, so we still do it. Okay. Outline an article on David and Jonathan. Okay, so unlikely friendship, trials and tribulations, covenant, betrayal and tragedy, legacy of faith and friendships. Okay, so that's an outline of an article, but to me it feels too general. There's too little spiritual content there. Okay, so what I'll do then is please focus. Okay, I'll leave the please now. Focus on spiritual things. Okay, and then it comes closer to an article that I would like to write about divine enlightenment, spiritual fellowship in trials, covenant of faith, spiritual warfare and victories, and spiritual legacy. Okay, so it gives me some ideas of how to organize if I want to write an article about this subject. So let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so that is support for the content side. Now, there's also going to be support for the conversation side. And most of you probably have seen the link to the AI assistant that GlobalRize already has provided. And so, okay, so click on the button to start the conversation. So the box is a little bit small. But what I could do is, I am in a conversation with someone, okay, so it's not going to take over my conversation, but something is being asked of me, and I think, I really don't know how to answer that. Okay, I'm finding out I can't type here very quickly, so that's a bit of a problem, but suggest... somebody is afraid that they will lose their salvation. And you know, no, I know that's not possible, but how do I prove it from the Bible? Okay, suggest a Bible verse. Proving that people cannot lose their salvation. Okay, when I tried this out, I found out when I ask only this, it gives me a way too long answer. So I'm going to add only give the reference and the verse. Okay, see what it comes up with. Hebrews 30:15, verse 5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I don't think that's the best one. I'm going to ask for a better one. Better one. Okay. John 10:28, I give them eternal life and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. Yes, I like that one better. Okay, so I'm going to use that in the chat. Okay, and so there are all kinds of ways that the chatbot can support you in real life chats. Some other examples, I plan to do it as well, but as I'm typing so slowly, I won't do it now. But one, for example, would be you're having someone in the chat who is from Zomba. And Zomba? What is Zomba? Okay, it's a town in Malawi. And so you want to understand. So you can ask the chatbot, please give me the context for a high school student in Zomba, Malawi. And so then the chatbot will give you some information that is useful and that will help you to relate to that person. Or you are talking about a certain Bible passage and you forgot something and you want some more information. Please tell me about the family relationship between David and his general Joab. Okay, who knows what the family relationship was? Cousin, almost. Yep, David was his uncle. So Joab was the son of Zeruiah, and that was the sister of David. Or one is, okay, it's a really difficult pastoral situation. And you're really doubting what to do. Well, of course, talk to other people, pray, really important. But even then, you can ask for suggestions. Say, this girl tells me she has been sexually abused by her youth pastor and hasn't talked to anybody. What should I do? Okay, even in situations like that, you will get some useful suggestions from AI. But we have very much chosen to okay, just a moment, Mark. Let me finish this and then I'll get to you. We have very much chosen not to make this available right now to the general public yet, but as an AI assistant, right? So that you still can make the choices, what am I going to do? Mark?
That last example you gave would probably, yeah, you would probably need advice specific to whatever country you're in. So I know in the UK we have specific safeguarding laws. Probably you do in the Netherlands.
Right.
So how able is it to factor in all those considerations?
Okay, yes. So the question is that this probably has to do with law as well, and the law is different between different countries. How much is it able to factor that in? First answer, it will be able to do so better and better. Second answer is it will probably give you some general feel about that. Please consider your local laws, and then if you ask, okay, I am in the UK, what is the relevant law? Even today, I think there is a good chance that you'll get a good answer.
And I had a similar question on the previous example of the Bible verses about salvation. So you were using English.
Right.
But how many languages would the AI assistant be able to do that in?
Yeah. Okay, so this assistant you can try in various languages, and we have asked several language teams, and the answers that we get back are very different. In some languages they say actually it is working really good, and some languages tell us it doesn't do any good at all yet. That basically is depending on how many text it has been trained on. So the more text in a language the AI chatbot has been trained on, the better it will be able to generate new text.
So can it literally find any online translation of the Bible in any language?
No, it is not a search engine. Okay, so it is trained on a tremendous number of websites, but that is what is used. So it's not doing a search for you, it is creating new text. And that's an interesting question, by the way, because if you ask, please give me this Bible verse, and you mention an English translation, it will give you that Bible translation. If you do the same in Dutch, then you get something that is pretty close, but it's not a real Bible translation. So you have to check what you can trust the AI chatbot on and not. Okay, so support is, okay, last one and then I'm continuing. Yep.
When you asked for the information about the walk, it gave us nonsense, basically.
Right.
How do when I asked the Bible bot about information about the city in Malawi, how do we know if the cultural background, what he's saying, is true or he's just making up things?
How do you know whether it is true or not? If you're asking this question about Malawi, will it spout nonsense as well? So the more specific your question is, and the smaller the area that you're asking about, the greater the chance is that it will not be real information. So you still can be confident that if you ask about a city in Malawi and it will talk about the context of Malawi, it will give you a lot of good information. If you ask, is the head of the school of this school in Zomba very, very good, then, well, probably will tell you I can't answer that question, but if you force it to answer, you're certainly going to get nonsense. So it's also, you have to learn what you can ask and where the ends are of the useful information that you can get.
Yeah, and AI also giving the languages like in different languages, but it's coming from the Google languages, like the Google. So it's not useful for exactly unfilled.
Okay, I'll leave that one for later. It can only create in languages that it has been trained on. So it's not using Google Translate. Okay, so we were talking about AI support for our content and our conversations, but we are going to end up in other situations as well where AI is going to or to have an impact also on the content created itself and on the so AI could create content, AI could do conversations. Okay, so this is a step further than just support. AI will or can do content and can do conversations itself. And of course the question is, how far do you want to go with it? Do you want to do that? So this is then the area of content that would not be created by humans anymore, but that would be created by AI. I'll give you a few examples. One, okay, this one, even my hour is not enough, so I'll not go into ChatGPT again. But one of the things, and Matthijs and I will work on that in the workshop on AI as well, is I made a reading plan based on a devotional by Spurgeon. So I thought, okay, all Spurgeon's work is so old, we can now easily use it. There are no copyrights anymore. And I started reading and I thought, okay, it's great content, but it's really old. And most people will not like to read that ancient English. So I put the Spurgeon devotional in ChatGPT and I told it, please update to modern English, only change the wordings that are outdated. And so within half an hour, 45 minutes, I had a new reading plan. And so it works really well. So that's on the content part. Voice part as well. Is Bart still here? No, okay. He's an intern and he is working on some AI voices as well. So
what is your language? There are over 7,000 different languages in the world. Without a doubt, you learned one as a child and maybe one or more others later on. If so, you found out that the older you get, the harder it is to learn a new language. So why did God create so many languages? Watch this video to get the answer to this question. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos about intriguing Bible questions.
okay, so this was from an article on bibleware.net. We're going to make videos of them, so at the end we say something about it. Now it's a video. But this is just, you throw your articles into an AI software program and it produces voices like this. Now, I can hardly hear, if I wouldn't have known, I doubt that I would have heard that this is an AI voice. So it's really high quality, even compared to 1 year ago. Now, again, in other languages, it's not as good yet as it is in English. But in 2 years, it certainly is going to be this quality in your language as well. Okay, so the next one for that video, I've asked Gineke, who's sitting there, to create some thumbnails using AI as well. So please, and so the only thing is, she is giving instructions to AI, please make a picture of David that we can use as a thumbnail for AI. So that is other content that is being used by AI. And then the next step is OpenAI. About 2 weeks ago, I think, they said that they were launching Sora, which is AI to create not just pictures, but even videos. And I'll show how that works to you. Okay, so this is totally AI-generated video. So this is the prompt. Reflections in the window of a train traveling through the Tokyo suburbs. So that's what you tell your AI, and this is the result. A close-up view of a glass sphere. A flock of paper airplanes in the jungle. Okay. Now this isn't available to the general public yet, but this will become available shortly. And so you see, it's amazing what can be done in content creation. So you can create content by giving a prompt, write an article about this. You can make a voiceover using AI. You can make an appealing thumbnail for that video. And then you can even ask, please create video with this voiceover, and you can put it on the internet. And basically you've done nothing, but there is a complete video there with AI content. Okay, and so this is going to, and so we have to make choices. What are we going to do and what are we not going to do? And as GlobalRize, we are making the choice. This is why we exist, okay, for this part. We love what AI can do, but we are here to have conversations with people, to share Jesus with them, and then to guide them to church as well. And why is it that so these conversations can be in the chat, Bible course, WhatsApp, whatever. Why are we doing that? First of all, because people are created for relationships. Okay, so there is a famous story from Isaac Asimov, a science fiction writer, about the planet of Solaria. And on Solaria, people are being served by robots. They don't need each other anymore, so everybody has his own estate, is never meeting anybody else. In the end, in the whole world, there are only 1,200 people left, because each has a large estate and is living there. And they're being served by AI. And I'm a very introvert person, but that is a description of hell. Right? People need each other, right? And we are created for relationships. And so we are choosing to invest in relationships. And so the second thing is aligned with what we communicate. We want people to have a relationship with the living creator of the universe. That is about relationship. And so it's just a mismatch if you want to convince people to have a real relationship, and you try doing that only with AI. Okay, and that is why we believe the power of real relationships and people sharing the gospel. The third one is we believe in the power of the Holy Spirit. And when our volunteers are chatting with people, are responding to the Bible questions, we believe that they will be led by God, by the Holy Spirit, to give the right answers. And that is, and often, if you look at it objectively, there is not one right answer. So you do need to depend on the guidance of the Holy Spirit to get it right. And so can the Holy Spirit also guide AI and use AI that way? Yes, of course, the Lord used a donkey for Balaam, but it's not the normal way. And so we shouldn't expect that to happen all the time. So prayer is another important thing. Okay, so AI can do a lot of things, but it cannot pray. Okay, it can create a prayer, but it cannot pray. And so when we are praying with and for people, something is happening in the heavenlies, and we don't want to lose that. And we're going to end up in a world in which fake is more and more prevalent. And I don't mean to say that people will not know it is fake. I believe that, especially through the EU regulations, it will be pretty clear in the future when something is created by AI. But the world will be awash with things created by AI. And there will be a longing for real connections and for reality, and that is what we want to offer. But it's also good to realize it's also going to be the other way around. Okay, not just we have the opportunity to use AI, but when people start connecting with us, we are already noticing that they are starting to use more AI as well. And it will not always be as obvious as this in the question in the Bible lesson, please introduce yourself. And the answer is, of course, I'm ChatGPT, an AI developed by OpenAI. Okay, so people just throw in our questions in ChatGPT and then copy and paste it in to learn. So what are we going to do in this world? I'm going to take, I think, about 5 more minutes. So the choice that we are going to make is, or what are we going to do? One is we are going to focus on authenticity, okay, being real. Now, you know that Gen Z, 64% of Gen Z is using TikTok as a search engine. And as an old man, I'm totally baffled by that. Why would you ever use TikTok as a search engine? And that is because they trust people who tell you about a certain product a lot more than what you will find through Google. So that's a kind of authenticity they're craving for. And it also means that probably we will need to focus more on personal brands. So if it is authentic, it's tied to a certain person. So Bibbleword feels less authentic than Pastor John. Okay, now there is a danger there. We have always tried to avoid putting people on a pedestal. Right? That's dangerous for anyone. But we will have to explore what does it mean if people are craving for authenticity, and that also means that they want to see and relate to real people in the content that they're seeing. Being even more personal. So instead of pages, focusing more on groups. Bringing in phone calls and video calls in the process of relating to people will probably be needed to get this real personal feel, especially in the time of AI. And I think it will also mean that we will try to make the offline connection sooner. If the online world is going to feel more and more fake, we will need to be quick in making these offline connections whenever possible. So the third one, local churches. So what I mean with that is doing online ministry together with local churches more. And so if something goes out from a local church, you will have a lower reach, but you will have a much higher engagement. And we are starting to experiment with that with Marten in the Dutch team, see if we can do things together with a local church to reach the people directly where they are. That also will make it feel less at a distance and more real for people. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is continuing innovation, because the world is changing so fast, and especially the internet is changing so fast. We need to keep doing new things to reach people. And with AI, the cost of doing new things is very low. So we can do it. But what is needed is creativity and perseverance. And that is why it's still not happening a whole lot. Because creativity and perseverance, there's a tension. People who are very creative often are not very persevering, and the other way around. But we need to bring it together to try out these new things and use all the possibilities that we have. And so my very last slide is, this is what we're looking for. Okay, unicorns. They're pretty rare. That's actually why they're called unicorns, and it's from venture capitalism. They're looking for unicorns, meaning businesses that are valued at least $1 billion. And so it's 0.00006% of all new businesses will be a unicorn. And so same will go for us. Well, I hope it will be a bit higher, but not everything that we are going to try out will be successful. But we will need to do different things to find the few things that really are successful, that really are reaching people, that people are responding to, and that will lead them to the Lord Jesus. And do not wait for the Dutch office to do all of that, because innovation often is happening more on the edges of an organization anyway. So always feel free to try out new things and to bless others with it. Okay, thank you.